Today, I want to talk about some of the technologies that you may have seen in the news. Now, if you've seen it in the news, it probably has some kind of political association. It was either mentioned White House wants to do this or somebody wants to do that. And because of that, we are going to need a disclaimer for this video. Disclaimer number one, this is not a political video. We're going to talk about technology. So, no political comments in the comment section. If you put any political comment, I will delete it. I don't want to hear anything about Republicans, Democrats, or anything like that. I will delete those comments. I will block you. I want to hear nothing of that. We are just talking about technology. And disclaimer number two, these are my best interpretations. So if you think I'm incorrect, feel free to politely correct me in the comment section below. With that in mind, let's start. All right, we're gonna start off with a spicy one. So Elon Musk went to investigate Social Security Department in US, and he said that he found fraud because he found that there are people who are 150 years old or something like that who are receiving Social Security. He said it's clearly fraud because there are these people who shouldn't be receiving it. So what's going on? How did we come up with people who are 150 years old or whatever the number is? It doesn't matter. In order to understand that, we have to understand a little bit about how dates work on a computer. So let's say you have, January 10th, and you have a date January 10th. You can understand like, okay, this is an event in January, we have a 10th day, it makes sense in your head. And you say like, okay, how about if we have an event 2 days later, right? And again, it makes sense to you. You're like, okay, 2 days after that, you got it. But to a computer, January doesn't mean anything. It's just collection of letters, right? So we need some kind of system so that computer can work with dates and times. And what we do is we convert actual dates and times into numbers. So then you would think, all right, well, what date or what number are we going to assign to what date? How do we make sense of it? And the way we figure that out is we say, all right, we're just going to pick a point in time. It doesn't matter which point, it doesn't matter what date it is. We're going to pick a date in the past and we're going to call it 0. So from here, this is going to be a 0th date, and from there we're going to start counting up. And we're going to count, let's say, seconds, right? And then we're going to say second 1, second 2, second 3, second 4. And each moment in time is going to represent to date that we understand. So that's how we treat dates in the computer terms. We convert them to numbers and we store those numbers into a field. And in different systems, we could have 0 date to be different point in time. So Windows may have 0 date as one, Mac and another, something else could have a different date at all. And Social Security system had a specific date and time that they picked to be the 0th date and time. Well, the next problem we get is what happens if we don't have a value? Well, usually when you don't have a specific number, things default to 0. And this is exactly what happened in the database. There was no value for a birthday, and the birthday was written as 0, which is the date that was chosen as to when that arbitrary point in time happens. And that's how we arrived at that. Basically, what had to happen is whoever was interpreting the data from the database, I don't know if it was Elon Musk himself or one of his people, but they should have read the documentation of this very old database, how it's set up, what the rules are, what the 0 date is, and understand what they are before making any kind of claims. Because then they would have known if you have lots of people with the same, date and time, the value in a database is actually 0, and that means there is an absence of an actual real date. Now, why the date was missing, that's a whole separate story. But at least now you understand why there are a bunch of people had specific age. It is because their date of birth was simply missing, and the database defaulted to 0, and 0 point in time was assigned to that specific point in time, which made lots of people of the same age. All right, next story you may have heard is military and classified communications were handled using Signal application. And it was explained that the Signal isn't considered to be secure enough. the communication has to happen through a dedicated system for military communications, whatever that is, and Signal should not be used. So the question in everyone's mind is why Signal isn't secure. So this one's going to be kind of heavy in my opinion. I don't really know for sure. But my opinion here is it's not that Signal isn't inherently not secure. It's probably the most secure way we can communicate with each other. But what makes it not secure is the fact that it's running on your phone. And phones do a lot of things, right? They're web browsers, they can make calls, they can do this, they can do that, they can browse web, a million things that they can do. And because they do so many things, every one of those functionalities could have a vulnerability, which makes it much likely that someone's gonna hack into that particular device, into your phone. So we had situations where somebody could send a text message containing certain characters and that would crash a person's phone. We had a situation, certain JavaScript, I believe, or certain picture that could crash somebody's phone when they open it in the web browser. So there's so many ways to potentially hack into somebody's personal phone that comparing it to some kind of dedicated system that's been created just for communications of a specific type, that's really what considers Signal to be not secure. Not because they're not using good encryption algorithm or something like that. It's just the device that it's running on is open to so many ways to be hacked into that we would overall classify it to be not good enough for military type of communication. And the last topic is going to be kind of a geeky one. It's about a programming language where White House said that they want to change official programming language to be Rust. So question in people's mind like, oh, what the hell, what is insecure about our programming language? Why do we need something else? And is it going to make things better? And the issue here, I think, deals with different devices, like network devices, routers, things like that. And a lot of software for those routers is written in C language. And C language is very old, but very powerful language that allows you to do pretty much anything you want. And one of the problems it has is memory access. It allows you to, access memory in lots of ways that are considered not secure. So, for example, an application could write data to memory. Let's say it writes, 10 characters. And then a user comes back and says, okay, read me back that variable that I just saved. And the C is going to say, okay, how many characters do you want? And it'll say 15. And the C is going to go, okay, let me give you 15 characters. But 5 of those characters, it wasn't allowed to show to the user. Now, this is like really gross oversimplification. But that's the idea. The management of memory is very relaxed. You can do anything you want. You can access things. And because of that, you can leak information. You can make application crash if it's not done using best programming practices. And that's what makes C unsecure. The counter argument to this was, well, why can't we just use all the safe functionality of C? Let's just write safe code, write good code. And yes, we could do that, but practically speaking, people have not been doing that. The code continues to be written in the same unsafe, not secure fashion that it was years and years ago. So while programmers could apply best programming practices, they simply don't. And in order to kind of force them to do it, we want to switch to a different language that takes memory management, memory access, safety rules first, and then everything else. And so this is where language Rust comes in. It's written kind of backwards. It's written with safety first, right? It wants to make sure that by default, users aren't going to do anything dangerous or something that can compromise the application. Now, it is not going to solve every possible problem, but it is an attempt to kind of force developers to be to write applications that will not access memory they're not supposed to, they will not crash as often, and it's just has like a safety level built in right from the beginning. I know it's a complicated topic and I'm probably not doing a good job at explaining it, but just if you want to do one takeaway from it, It's kind of like C, but with safety first. That's all it is. It is meant to reduce vulnerabilities in different hardware that we deploy on the internet. So those are my explanations on some of the technology that could have made it to your news channels. Again, not an expert in this. This is just how I understand it. If you have any further questions, put them in the comment section below. If you want to correct me, please do so as well. No political comments, as I said in the beginning. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on another video.